Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, January 21. On this date in 2001, WWE held its Royal Rumble pay-per-view. In the main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin won the Royal Rumble match. On this date in 1992, WCW held Clash of the Champions 18. In the main event, Ricky Steamboat and Sting defeated Rick Rude and Steve Austin. On this date in 1997, WCW held Clash of the Champions 34. In the main event, Lex Luger defeated Scott Hall by disqualification. On this date in 1990, WWE held its Royal Rumble pay-per-view. In the main event, Hulk Hogan won the Royal Rumble match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, January 21.
You are listening to Pro Wrestling Weekly with Ferran Derry.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Interesting, that 1990 Royal Rumble, that was when Hogan was the champ. And he still won the Royal Rumble. This was before, of course, they had instituted the winner of the Rumble gets a title shot. That, of course, would occur 3 years after that. We'll get a little bit more into the favorite Royal Rumble matches and events and moments coming up next week as Royal Rumble turns 25 a week from tomorrow. So it'll be a special Royal Rumble edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly next week, right here at the usual time. Taking a look at some news and notes. Congrats to Cowboy James Storm. He announced the birth of his son Mason, who was born yesterday morning at 4:42 a.m. Congrats to Cowboy James Storm on being a father. Always good news to hear there. The Rock, he's officially advertised for the March 26th edition of Raw from the Phillips Arena in Atlanta. Not really a surprise considering it's the go-home show for WrestleMania, which would be the following Sunday. This is interesting. The WWE has signed Jody Christopherson to a developmental contract. That name might sound a little familiar. He is the son of musician and actor Chris Christopherson. Yeah, Jody Christopherson, a developmental contract, so maybe you'll be seeing him coming up over the course of the next couple of years. He's already he's closing in on his mid-20s. I think he's 24, I want to say. And who knows? Stranger things have happened. Speaking of celebrities, Mick Foley has announced that his appearance on ABC's Celebrity Wife Swap will air this Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern. Should be interesting. And I mentioned The Rock a little bit ago. We kind of knew this was bound to happen. I think I joked about it once the initial insult came out. But Post Foods, the makers of Fruity Pebbles, announced a new endorsement deal with WWE superstar John Cena a week and a half ago. The deal will include Cena appearing on a collector's edition Fruity Pebbles box, along with an instant win promotion for a VIP meet and greet. Yes, John Cena just continuing, I guess, his feud with The Rock and, making a little bit of money off of it thanks to Post, the makers of Fruity Pebbles. I'm sure I'll go out there and buy my box of collector Fruity Pebbles. Hey, it's a great cereal. Why not? Give him a little bit of a push there. And some not-so-good news. Former Miss USA and WWE Tough Enough contestant Rima Fakih. She appeared in court over her December DUI charge in Michigan. Fakih had said very little, but the judge seemed very aggravated with the attorneys because no plea deal had been reached. The judge set a trial date for March 14th, but a plea is expected to be reached before then. Fakih had a blood alcohol content of over double the legal limit, allegedly, because it's still going to trial and all that. And Chris Jericho, obviously he's made his name recently by not saying a lot, but this is something interesting. He is a co-owner of the D1 Tampa Sports Training and Therapy Facility. Other notable athletes involved in the ownership, Major League Baseball player Chipper Jones, former NFL great Derek Brooks, and current Denver Broncos quarterback Tim Tebow. All part of the ownership group of this sports training and therapy facility. Wonder if Jericho can help Tebow on talking, because I don't think he's exactly all that good of an interview. And I'm getting a smirk from producer Wild Bill Melody, so yeah, I think he's in slight agreeance on that one. And I didn't even get the chance to talk about it, but I've got a couple minutes to, so we're going to do so now. For those who missed it last night, Sin City SmackDown, which I guess is a little bit different than the Raw Roulette, although the wheel was definitely in play, as we had a Player's Choice match where Cody Rhodes ended up choosing Hornswoggle as an opponent, and then Justin Gabriel told him to pick on someone his own size, and Cody Rhodes easily handled Justin Gabriel in a little under 4 minutes. Of course, there was a tables match that Wade Barrett beat Sheamus in thanks to the wheel. A flag match. We haven't seen that since the Corporal Kirshner days back in the mid-'80s. But Ted DiBiase and Hunico faced off in that, and DiBiase won that. It only lasted about 2 minutes. And Santino Marella and Drew McIntyre, for the first time that I can remember since going back to WrestleMania 7, of course, the model Rick Martel and Jake the Snake Roberts, a blindfold match, which Santino Marella somehow, despite not being able to see, got the crowd to help him out with the Cobra Strike, and Drew McIntyre and his losing streak continues, this time via a blindfold match. And a no contest between Mark Henry and Daniel Bryan with a lumberjack match where you got your Royal Rumble-esque moment as a number of the lumberjacks ended up fighting in and out of the ring. Bryan made his way out, and that's where Teddy Long booked Bryan to defend the World Championship against both the Big Show and Mark Henry in that triple threat cage match coming up for the Rumble a week from tomorrow. Definitely some interesting stuff. Of course, you had that dance-off as well, courtesy of Brodus Clay and Vicky Guerrero, and of course I mentioned William Regal. An interesting week, to say the least, and we'll see where things go from here. Of course, next week we've got the Royal Rumble hype, as well as looking back at some of your favorite Royal Rumble moments from the past. And it looks like Dan's already getting the jump on it as he posted on the Facebook page from Royal Rumble 96, Goldust against Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship. And Dan also bringing a little bit of late-breaking news. Jeff Hardy injured and cuts match short. And Mr. Anderson returning. I'll have to see if I can get that up over the course of the next few seconds here. Mr. Anderson returns with a new look. Some interesting things from the Worcester Mass show that happened last night. But yes, it looks like the Jeff Hardy's match was cut short. It looks like he injured his tailbone. Within 10 seconds of the win, a trainer was in the ring with a bag of ice. And, extremely gingerly hit the turnbuckles to send the crowd home happy. So hard to say how long Hardy will be out, but more on this next week as it develops. Stay tuned. Bill Melody's up next, Country Music Hall. And I'll be back next week with a Royal Rumble edition of Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB.
1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton.